Hey everyone, and welcome back to English 10 Minutes. Today we have a really special story for you. It's a sweet, touching story about young love, those unforgettable moments, and the bittersweet feelings that often come with them. It's called First Kiss, First Goodbye. Are you ready to dive into a summer romance? Let's get started. First kiss, first goodbye. The summer I turned 16 tasted like saltwater taffy, and the tangy lemonade Leo always made too sour at the Sandy Scoop, the ice cream parlor where we both worked. Before Leo, summer was just a long, sunny pause between school years in our sleepy beach town of Harmony Cove. It was endless days of hot sand between my toes, the rhythmic crash of waves against the shore, and the familiar scent of sunscreen and fried clams from the boardwalk. But this summer, everything felt different, brighter, like someone had turned up the saturation on the world. It all started when Leo Mitchell rolled into town with his family for their annual 2-month vacation. He wasn't like the local boys. He had this quiet confidence, eyes the color of the ocean on a cloudy day, and a laugh that sounded like wind chimes. He got the job at the Sandy Scoop 2 days after me, and from our first shared shift, fumbling with the ice cream scooper and accidentally spraying each other with whipped cream, something just clicked. We talked about everything. Our favorite bands, dreams for the future, the silly things our families did. He told me about his city life, so different from my quiet coastal existence, and I told him about the magic of Harmony Cove, the way the stars looked so clear over the ocean at night, unpolluted by city lights. Every shift became an adventure, every shared glance over a customer's head a secret message. My heart did a little flip every time he smiled at me, a genuine, crinkly-eyed smile that made me feel like I was the only person in the crowded shop. I started to count the minutes until our shifts aligned, and even dreaded the days he wasn't on the schedule. My best friend Chloe noticed it immediately. "You've got that look, Mia," she'd said, wiggling her eyebrows. "That he makes my stomach do backflips look." I'd just blushed and tried to deny it, but she was right. The thought of him was a constant, happy hum under the surface of my days. I knew he was temporary, like the summer itself, but a part of me, the hopeful, romantic part, wished he could stay. Our days fell into a comfortable rhythm, a pattern woven with shared tasks and stolen moments. We'd walk home together after work, our shoes crunching on the gravel path that led away from the boardwalk, the setting sun painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Sometimes we'd detour to the old wooden pier, sitting with our legs dangling over the edge, watching the fishing boats bob on the gentle tide. He'd tell me stories about his school back home, his friends, the bustling city streets. I'd listen, fascinated, trying to picture him in that different world. He was a good listener, too. He'd ask me about my art, the sketches I secretly drew in my notebook, and encourage me to show him. No one had ever taken such an interest before. One evening, a particularly warm one where the air was thick with the scent of night-blooming jasmine, he pointed out constellations, his finger tracing patterns in the inky sky. "That's Orion's belt," he'd said, his voice soft. "And see that bright one? That's Sirius." I didn't really see the shapes he was describing, but I loved the way he talked about them. His enthusiasm making the distant stars feel closer, more personal. We started spending time together outside of work, too. Beach bonfires with a group of friends, where he'd play guitar, simple, slightly off-key melodies that still sounded perfect to me. We explored the hidden coves I knew, places most tourists never found, and he showed me how to skip stones across the calm water, a skill I could never quite master, much to his amusement. Each day felt precious, a golden bead strung onto the necklace of summer. But beneath the surface of my happiness, a small knot of anxiety tightened with each passing week. August was approaching, and with it, the end of his vacation. The unspoken word goodbye hung in the air between us, a silent countdown to the moment our paths would diverge. I tried to push it away, to live in the present, but it was always there, a shadow in the corner of my sunniest days. The annual Harmony Cove Summer Festival was our unspoken deadline. It was always held on the last Saturday of August, the unofficial end of the tourist season, and Leo's family was leaving the next morning. The day of the festival arrived too quickly. A burst of color, music, and the smell of popcorn and cotton candy. The boardwalk was alive with people, game stalls, and laughter. Leo and I wandered through it all, a strange mix of excitement and melancholy swirling within me. He won me a goofy, oversized teddy bear at a ring toss game, its fur a lurid shade of blue, and I laughed harder than I had in weeks. We shared a giant sticky caramel apple, our fingers brushing, sending a jolt right through me. As dusk settled, painting the sky with fiery strokes, the local band started playing on the makeshift stage by the beach. Leo took my hand. "Dance with me?" he asked, his ocean gray eyes serious. My heart hammered against my ribs. We swayed slowly to a soft ballad, surrounded by other couples. But in that moment, it felt like we were the only two people in the world. The air was cool against my skin, carrying the salty tang of the sea and the distant murmur of the crowd. His hand was warm and steady on my back, and I rested my head lightly on his shoulder, breathing in the faint, clean scent of his t-shirt. When the song ended, we walked towards the quieter end of the beach, away from the lights and the noise. The moon was a silver sliver in the dark sky, and the stars, those same stars he'd pointed out to me, seemed to glitter with an almost painful brilliance. We stood in comfortable silence for a long moment, the only sound the gentle lapping of waves on the sand. Then, he turned to me, his expression unreadable in the dim light. "Mia," he began, his voice a little rough. And then, he leaned in. His lips were soft, a little hesitant at first, then warm and sure. It wasn't like the dramatic kisses in movies. It was quiet, sweet, and unbelievably real. My mind went completely blank, all thoughts erased by the simple, overwhelming sensation of his mouth on mine. It was a perfect first kiss, filled with all the sweetness and unspoken emotions of our summer. When we pulled apart, the world felt a little tilted on its axis. A warm blush spread from my cheeks all the way down to my toes. Leo's eyes were shining, and he had a small, shy smile on his face. "Wow," he breathed out, and I giggled, a light, airy sound. We didn't say much after that. Words felt unnecessary. We just walked back along the water's edge, his hand finding mine, fingers interlacing naturally, as if they'd always belonged there. The rest of the evening passed in a dreamlike haze. The fireworks display exploded over the ocean, painting the night with bursts of gold and crimson. But the real fireworks were happening inside me. Every touch, every shared glance, felt magnified, precious. But as the last firework faded, leaving trails of smoke against the stars, the reality of the next morning settled heavily in my chest. The goodbye. We walked back to my street, the blue teddy bear tucked under my arm. At my gate, the porch light cast a soft glow on us. The silence stretched, filled with all the things we couldn't, or wouldn't, say. I had the best summer, Mia," Leo finally said, his voice thick with emotion. "Me too, Leo," I whispered, my throat tight. He looked like he wanted to say more, but he just squeezed my hand. "I'll see you?" It was more of a hopeful question than a statement. "Yeah," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. He leaned in and gave me a quick, soft kiss on the cheek. "Bye, Mia." And then he was gone, his silhouette disappearing down the dark street. I stood there for a long time, the cool night air on my face, clutching the blue bear, the imprint of his lips still tingling on mine, the echo of his bye ringing in my ears. It was the first time a goodbye had ever felt so much like a piece of my heart breaking. The next morning, I didn't go to see him off. I couldn't. Instead, I went to our beach, the one by the old pier. I sat on the sand, hugging my knees, and watched the waves roll in and out, a constant, steady rhythm that was both comforting and a little sad. The spot where we sat felt empty now. The sandy scoop would feel empty. The whole town, once he was truly gone, would feel a little less bright. Chloe found me there later, sitting silently beside me, offering a comforting presence without needing words. The next few weeks were strange. The vibrant colors of summer slowly started to fade into the softer hues of early autumn. School started, and the routine of classes and homework replaced the lazy days of sun and ice cream. But everything was tinged with the memory of Leo. I'd catch the scent of sour lemonade, and my heart would ache a little. I'd see a boy with cloudy gray eyes and do a double take. The blue teddy bear sat on my bed, a constant reminder. It wasn't all sadness, though. There was a warmth, too, a gentle glow from the memory of our shared laughter, our whispered conversations, and that one perfect kiss under the festival moon. He'd opened up a little window in my small-town world, showing me there was more out there and more in me than I'd realized. He helped me find a bit of courage I didn't know I possessed. I even started showing my sketches to Chloe, and then tentatively to my art teacher, my art. Summer ended, as all summers do. Leo didn't call or text right away, and neither did I. Maybe some goodbyes were meant to be clean, to let the memories settle and become their own special kind of treasure. Maybe "see you" was just a hopeful wish whispered against the inevitable. But as I looked out at the ocean, the waves still whispering secrets to the shore, I knew that summer had changed me. Our first kiss was also our first real goodbye, and somehow in its bittersweet perfection, it taught me that some people touch your life for a season, but they leave footprints on your heart that last forever. And that was first kiss, first goodbye. What a beautiful story, right? It really captures those intense emotions of first love and the pain of saying goodbye, but also the way those experiences shape us. What did you think? Did it remind you of any of your own experiences? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to English 10 Minutes for more stories and English learning content. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.